Hey, what's up, team? It's Sherman here from Boss Mod. Today we're talking about the ESTP. Before we get into it, though, sorry, something creaked over there. Let me explain this four-player questing model that I use here. So you have your first function, your dominant function. I consider that to be your hero. So that's you in this whole questing model, right? And it's just where you spend most of the time in your existence. Okay, for you it's extroverted sensing. I'll get into it. After that, you have your companion. Your companion is like the Samwise to your Frodo. Okay, so he's the one that kind of helps you get to your quest, your end goal, right? And that's your auxiliary function. For you, it's introverted thinking, technically, and it's like the same level as your hero. Okay, we can say they're both like level 30s. Okay, both very good, work very well together. You know, they have their differences, but when they come together, good things happen. After that, you have your newbie. Your newbie is like your level 10, or just kind of like the spacey weird guy, the Leroy Jenkins or something that just runs in there and messes things up for you sometimes. But it's very helpful in a lot of other ways, because it's your tie to the extroverted world. Okay, we'll get into that too, but for you, as an ESTP, it's extroverted feeling, technically. And after that, the last member is what I call the escort. And the escort is like the AI, the just uncontrollable part of you, that you follow along with, and eventually, when you help it finish its quest, then you unlock these badass rewards. But it's a difficulty for the most of your life, for the first like 30 years or something like that, depending on how much personal growth you go for. Okay, so let's get into it. So your hero, technically extroverted sensing. And this is what you have like a compulsion to do. And it's really based on picking up all the sensory aspects and the tangible aspects of the world around you. Extroverted, right? Outside of yourself. And then sensing is things you can pick up with your senses. And more than that too, like measurements and stuff too. But simply put, senses. And it's basically, I consider it to be like a dwarf warrior or a berserker. Okay, so you have these two weapons and you're ready to just run into the fight and start swinging. You're not as like calculated and slow as an elf warrior, like a defender would be, introverted sensing. But you do have definitely a calculating part of you, and that's within your companion, that introverted thinking. But yeah, as a berserker, you want to get out there, you want to feel your hammer hitting other people's armor, and feel the breeze and the heat of the battle and all that good stuff. Your brain is primed to just bounce back and forth and pick up that next like sensory spike that you can, right? It's very good in like crisis. It's good in sports and stuff like that, stereotypically, because you're watching your surroundings and you're kind of bouncing around mentally and physically, probably, ready to like catch that next thing that's going to help you in battle in your life. What else? Let's see. You probably don't like to slow down a bunch. You just want to keep going. So Stereotypically, rules and stuff like that just get in the way of you absorbing more of that sensory goodness and adrenaline and whatnot. I have some abilities that I made. Close Combat Specialist awards extra swings. The more interactive a warrior is with an object, the more they understand it. So you like to be hands-on. That's what melee is all about, right? You want to just touch stuff and feel it and see what happens, and really you can't understand it as well through just sitting back and watching somebody else do it. You want to jump in there. Awareness, scan for important sensory details in the environment. Yeah, lightning reflexes, ready yourself to react instantly. Warriors' minds are always primed and looking for new stimuli in the moment. This is kind of what I explained about that tennis hop style. You're ready to catch that new stimuli in the moment. Extroverted sensing, berserkers are very much here and now, about immersion in the now, right? And not so much caring about what happens later. Weapon mastery, quickly attune yourself to new tools. Skilled warriors are gifted with machines and tools which they see as extensions of their bodies. This is also another kind of stereotypical thing, but you're able to use things like this cup right here to do what you got to do to get the job done, because you're just very capable of seeing it as an extension of yourself, like I said. And that's the same with airplanes and tools, machinery and stuff like that too. And your companion, your introverted thinking side, gives you more real accurate usage of it, of whatever that tool is, knowing how hard to swing a hammer and whatnot. Killer instincts, learn through being in battle and experience what works and what doesn't. So your instincts guide you. When you're in the fight, you'll learn what you got to do next. Don't need to plan it out as much as somebody who's introverted. Man, there's so many. Battle ready, increased kinesthetic intelligence. Warriors have trained their bodies as tools to interact with the world. They are physically expressive, aware of their bodies, and stereotypically have high motor skills. Kind of covered those. Fury. A warrior gains fury when in combat. They get energized when around others and rarely look for solitude over social environments. I think this is more for, ESFPs, but you definitely have, you have a feeling side of you, which is embodied within your newbie, your tertiary function. And so depending on, where you are in here, it might be very accurate for you. You just want to get out there and experience things, and with other people there, you can kind of vibe off of their energy and stuff like that, and get more adrenaline rush and get more of your senses tingling. Charge, warriors don't have time to plan. In fact, by the time they think about planning, they're already mid-swing. Yep. Rally, excitable and generally positive. Warriors enjoy life and rally others to do the same. I've thought this to be true, so put it in there. It's just, I don't know. You're ready to try new things, and you're not holding yourself back. And there's a part of that that's very inspiring. Okay. Yeah, that's good. So that's your hero. That's most of what you probably consider yourself to be when you ask, or when somebody asks you, like, describe yourself, you probably explain things similar to that. But a lone berserker cannot, defeat all these dragons and stuff, right? You're gonna get overwhelmed. You need an adventuring party with you, right? And that's what these other three members are. Your companion, introverted thinking, technically, is what I consider to be like an elf mage or an arcanist. It's all about finding the perfect understanding of something and summoning that and using that as leverage to make a decision or to attack a situation. Introverted thinking isn't as concerned with like how other people understand the situation like an extroverted thinker would be. But it's more of like your personal understanding of it. Like, does it make sense to you technically in your own brain, based on your own understanding of how the world works? And you use that to like I said, get leverage in conversations, like through negotiating or whatever, or just, to know at what angle to shoot the ball or whatever you want, to throw a punch or to, swing a bat. A lot of sports and those kind of references, but it's kind of part of that stereotypical image. It doesn't have to be, right? I know an ESTP that's not into sports, but he uses these kind of general approaches in his daily life. Yeah, introverted thinking. What else can I say about it? Accurate, direct. It's not clouded with like that emotional side. It wants to get rid of that emotional baggage, so that too much baggage, do you know that? To get rid of that emotional baggage and then just find the real understanding of what a thing is, what something is. And so your companion, this arcanist, kind of points out which targets to attack and how to approach them. And then you, as a hero, agree with that or disagree with it, and then just charge in there and do your thing. And then he keeps you up and kind of points out different like weak points in a target and whatnot, and maybe weakens them and stuff like that. Yep. So that's your first two. Those are the two big players within your 4-person model for your cognitive function stack. So after that, you have extroverted feeling. Extroverted feeling is the mirror opposite of introverted thinking. So whereas introverted thinking was about the true understanding of this technical data and information, extroverted feeling is about expressing emotions, extroverting, right? Expressing your emotions, picking up on the emotions and connections within other people around you, and usually promoting harmony in other people in the situation. But this is at a newbie level, right? Like a level 10. So it can often come out as more just expressing your emotions and reading people, like reading how they are looking at you and looking at other people and stuff. Not as much doing what is necessary to make sure everybody's happy. So Yeah, your newbie is like, is kind of whiny sometimes, probably. Uh, when you're in there and you're fighting and he's just doing these AoE heals, like a dwarf healer, like a cleric kind of would be. Um, he's in there in the fight too, and he's just kind of like spamming heals sometimes, and eventually, you might not need heals. Like if you're maxed out and he's still trying to spam heals to express himself, or to just like he's panicking, worrying about what other people are thinking, he's gonna run out of mana, and it's gonna cause some problems, right? In like an RPG sense, right? What it more accurately does in a more non-RPG sense, technically, it's kind of like where you go when you want to stay extroverted. So when something's pushing you to introvert and to think about it and like slow down, right? Because that's what introverted functions do. They slow you down. So when something's pushing you to do that and you don't want to do it, then you'll just switch over to this dwarf healer aspect, and you'll be like, oh yeah, I like what you're saying, Mr. Dwarf Healer, and just do whatever that says. Because that's another thing. It's not a thinking function, it's a judging function. Thinking and feeling are judging functions. They help you make decisions. So you'll make decisions based on not what you know to be true, but what other people are doing and thinking, and how emotions are affecting you. Yeah, okay, so that's the newbie. After that, you can go into your escort. Your escort is the inferior function or aspirational function, and it's that AI that you can't really control too well, kind of messes things up, and it's the mirror opposite of your dominant function, your extroverted sensing. So it's introverted intuition, and introverted intuition is about abstract understanding of where something is going in the future, and the deep meaning behind it, like why is this happening, but it's at such an ignored level. Like if you're focusing on extroverted sensing, what's real and tangible around you, then you're not thinking about that abstract world of like, where did this come from and where is it going way long term. So when you are not yourself, when you're just super stressed out and drained of all your berserker fury, then this introverted intuition, or like an elf hunter or a sentinel, comes in and just like makes these absurd theories and like projections about like what the real meaning behind these interactions are, and like why this person really did this. And it's not grounded by any means, and it's not really educated. It's just kind of like speculations on why these things are happening. And when you're not in your right mind, you start to believe those, right? And then you're like, well, she said this because, she's really, sleeping with this other guy or whatever, like just some weird connections that don't have any real meaning. Okay, so that is kind of what the escort does. But eventually, when you tame it, when you help the escort along its path and you help it complete its quest, you really pay attention to it, basically, then you're going to get a deeper understanding of how your actions project into the future and how other people see different situations, and it'll help you out a lot. but you know, it takes a lot of work and time, and it takes you slowing down and thinking about these things constantly before it's even, you know, part of your normal self. Okay, I think that's enough. If you're an ESTP and you have any questions, comments, something I said sounded really nice or didn't, please let me know. It always helps to hear from other people. All right, so please write in the comments below. You can go to the link that I'll link down there too for more like written information and more detailed stuff that I can't remember on the fly when I do these videos. Okay, well, good luck, have fun. See ya.